Hey everybody, Putty back, going through my Steam library, starting with the worst games first. I did the math, and it turns out if I keep going at the current rate that I'm playing the games and making videos of them, and don't get any more games, it's gonna take me a little over 10 years to get through this library. So I'm gonna have to start going a little faster just to try to put a dent in things. The good news is the majority of games that are on the list in my Steam library aren't actually terrible. They actually have a Wilson score of 65% or higher. So we should get through the terrible ones relatively quickly and the mediocre ones here pretty soon. But like I said, I'm gonna try to get these videos out a little faster. I think I am getting a little better at making them. I'm very new to YouTube and making videos, so it's taking a while to figure out how to do stuff, but I think I'm slowly getting the hang of it. So let's get to the games. Hidden Mysteries Civil War. Now, there's a lot of mysteries for me in this game, and we'll get to them. They try to make it more involving by making you learn stuff, and then you go out to your clutter scene where you find stuff. One of the mysteries for me in this game is, was that actually around back then? Like this teddy bear and a football. I'm not too sure. I don't think they had footballs back then. And light bulbs. Did light bulbs exist? I don't think so. Maybe. It's a mystery, though. One that we will never solve. Here we have a rubber ducky in the one little puddle here. I'm not sure that existed back then. Maybe. It's a mystery. Here we have one of our items on the list is nail polish. They might have had nail polish back then, but I somehow doubt they sold it in those containers that they have nowadays. A lot of items you see repeated, like you can kind of see on this bridge there was a bacon there, and here on Abe Lincoln's tent you can see he also keeps his bacon up on his tent thing. Abe Lincoln was either a hoarder or a slob. At least that's how they're portraying him, I guess. I'm not sure about that. It's a mystery. Here's another mystery. How hard is this? Solving this puzzle. Well, I ran out of hints, so I had to play Minesweeper to get more. Why? It's a mystery. Now, one of the mysteries that I really couldn't solve is why are they calling this rooster a hen? I don't know. It's a mystery. Sudoku Ball Detective. It's so ridiculous, I am having a hard time even saying it. You're at this dude's birthday party, and I'll skip much of it, but that guy gets killed. So you have to solve the mystery by doing some Sudoku here. And it's not too fun. You get to do it on a ball, and they don't give you much of a UI here. You just kinda use a little phone rotary dial type thing to select stuff. The most infuriating thing is you live on this tiny planet of houses, and I'm trying desperately to click on the blinking objective that I'm supposed to go to, and it is not working, and very, very frustrating, and spinning around randomly sometimes if you misclick, and oh my god, I just want to click on the house, and yes, this really, really happened, until I finally figured out you just click on the roof, because I guess that's how you gain accesses to stuff in this crazy world. Sometimes you gots to be timed with this weird beaker of meth on the left-hand side, I guess, and hurry up and do that Sudoku. Hurry, faster. And then other times you're picking a lock, which just involves doing the center square, and that ain't too hard neither. But most of the time you're just having a ball on your Sudoku ball. And Ain't it grand? The most ridiculous game I've ever played. Solving a mystery with a ball of Sudoku. Perimeter 2, the game that made me regret playing through its tutorial. You start with these little unit things, which are, I think they mine energy for you. Whoa! Whoa, what's going on? Why is it getting all spinny? Oh my gosh, and the freaking thing is getting all preachy at me. Oh my gosh, the whole time they're really religiously preaching at you, and I really could not stand that very much. There's just so much, like, religiousness to it. I don't really like that in my real-time strategies. They give you this hand thing, and I couldn't figure out what they wanted me to do with it. Instead of building a barrier, I ended up scraping stuff around. I eventually figured it out, but since I scraped around so much with it, it made it almost impossible to put my buildings down that I needed. So, I think this was partially my fault, but it wasn't very fun. Just one little pebble out of place, you can't put your building. I went and played the campaign, and they teach you a lot more intuitively how to use the claw. I would have preferred to skip the tutorial. It was very preachy. And yay, leader, you did it! We get the little orb thingy. The first campaign mission that has bad guys, you're just kind of like facing off against them. They're in the water, trying to make the whole place water, and you're the opposite. You see the UI here is this square that switches between your two buildings, which make things, which means you can have two sets of units, and then the triangles are your units. I probably could have been aggressive and just gone at these dudes instead of building all this stuff and terraforming, but I guess I was trying to play the long game when really it was just a short game. But let's get all preachy about your victory. World Truck Racing! I first thought maybe this was going to be pickup trucks, but no, turns out it's the other type of truck. So I went in just ready to go. Let's do some training. Oh, the training is by myself? No, I'm not into that. Let's get out of here. So I skipped the training and the qualification, which would have determined which position I start in, but I don't think it really matters too much. So let's get into it. The keyboard is the method I started playing with, and in order to go forward, you have to hold down the W key the whole time and kind of just steer with A and D. And as you can tell from the truck's steering, it does handle like a big rig would. Not too well. You'll see on this first corner that the other trucks have about as good handling as I do. They do just about as good as I do with the keyboard. But I did not do very well in my first race, and I ended up finishing, I think 5th. Yeah, 5th place. Not good. So you can customize your truck quite a bit, but I had no clue what most of this did. I know what suspension is, but I don't know what adjusting it would do to help me besides stop some of that wobbling maybe. So I fiddled with the stuff a bit, but I doubt it helped. There's different camera angles that you can have, like this one. First person mode for some reason. We got this one where you're like riding on the hood of the truck. Very wobbly. I don't know about that. This is what I like to call the Mad Max one, where you're like a guy hanging on the side of the vehicle. Eventually I switched to controller and I rebound some of the buttons so that I wouldn't have to hold up the whole time in order to accelerate, and I pretty much kicked ass after that. I'd say this is a great game for little kids because there's no penalties for losing, and it's pretty easy, especially with a controller. Adventure Park. This is one of those theme park building simulators where you hire dudes and you build stuff. I guess the one innovation they have is instead of just letting you do 90-degree angles, you can kind of go in these other angles, which I don't really have an interest for, so I'm just gonna stick with the 90-degree angle thing. And there doesn't actually seem to be many rides that you can set up. This seems to be the limit here. I never did unlock anything greater than 3 stars during my play, but I don't think I was missing out much because these weren't that exciting, and I don't think that they could ramp up the excitement much more than they already have with these. Like all theme parks, you gotta open it up and let the people in. And you'll get a list of dudes and what's wrong with them, why can't I find the trash can? It's right in front of you, lady, right next to that soda pop machine. So, one of the crappiest things that happened while playing was I accidentally thought I was upgrading my roller coaster, but deleted it, and it didn't prompt me, and it just deleted. And I had a heck of a time putting it back into place. It wouldn't just let me drop the station back in. I basically had to deconstruct it and delete a lot of my scenery that I'd put down for my Western themed park, move all my workers out of the way, and finally get it in place. But even then, I was not able to get the rail to just hook back up to the station without a lot of jostling. So it doesn't really have a lot of good points there. I did like watching the little horse ride you can kind of see down south there. That was kind of interesting that they would just have horses riding along on a track, but I got the coaster going and yay, I guess. So, starting to see a theme in the worst games, a lot of hidden object games, and I don't think it's just because they're boring. I think there's, people that like them out there, and they're casual and relaxing. But the ones I've played so far, they all share a common issue, and that is that they have 2 modes that they'll run in. The first is a teeny tiny little window, and you can't really see the objects very well to find them if you have a nice big monitor. I suppose if you had an old CRT one and that was a giant resolution for you, you'd have a good time. The other mode that they will play in is full screen, but if you have widescreen monitor like most folks do these days that are into gaming, it won't be in widescreen. It will stretch it out and everything will be the wrong aspect ratio, so it'll be, your balls will become ovals and it's just, it doesn't look quite right. But I mean, when you're trying to find objects, you want the window to be as big as possible, and you want the objects to be nice and crisp. So this is a problem I see with the hidden object games out there, and you game makers need to get your acts together, because, yeah, I want my windows big, and I want them the right aspect ratio. So we'll see you next week, and hopefully we'll have some more mysteries to solve. Bye.